Hello everyone, and welcome to another entry in our Community Cast series. In this match, we're going to have a showdown between the Vampire Coast, who's going to be led by Zablaski, and the Wood Elves, who are going to be led by Pockman. So without further ado, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So first things first, guys, as expected, the Vampire Coast does, of course, have a pretty powerful gun line. In total, they do have 2 Deck Gunners, as well as the Shade Wraith Gunners, which are the Regiment for now, which are ethereal. They also have some pretty cool abilities like Discourage, and do they do magic damage? They do magic damage, and the regular ones don't. But regardless, Deck Gunners are very powerful against Wood Elves for one reason: their range. 245 range, they can out-skirmish the Wood Elf Archers. The Wood Elf Archers, of course, do have stock, so they can usually get the jump on you. But of course, Vampire Coast can do some scouting with Fellbats and Direwolves and things like that. But the Deepwood Scouts are so good at picking apart gunnery mobs. And as such, I think that these are pretty much the only viable option against Wood Elf missile units. I mean, you can go very aggressive and just push forward and use Direwolves and Fellbats, but the Deck Gunners are very, very solid. Granted, I do think you should deploy them a little bit further back. Deploying on the front line against Wood Elves' Vampire Coast is very risky because they can Vanguard Deepwood Scouts and just rain fire, and it's a little bit tough to pull back with Deck Gunners as they only have 23 speed. But nonetheless, pretty solid stuff. It looks like Zablaski does also have a Gunnery Wight, which is going to be awesome. First time we've actually seen him in multiplayer, at least on my channel. And he does have the Enchanted Ballistics. Oh, I thought it was Enhanced. Enchanted Ballistics. So it gives accuracy and reload skill. On top of that, he has more powder for the long, grindy game. He's got a pretty badass looking rifle there. And he does have Dead Eyes, which gives missile damage and armor piercing damage. Very cool stuff. Frontline is going to be zombie mobs, which is pretty standard stuff. I mean, they're going to get killed by Dryads, but they can hold. And it's really good to actually mix in like 1 or 2 groups of standard depth guard. They will mulch Eternal Guard. They'll take out Dryads. They do very well against War Dancers. And they're pretty much a hard counter against most Wood Elf infantry. So I like that quite a bit. Very, very cool stuff. Some halberds in the back just to help out in case there's some large threats like Wild Riders or Treekin, or if the Wood Elves decide to get a little bit crunk and mix things up. And he's got 2 crabs. So the Rotting Prometheans are a very good roadblock against Wild Riders and pressure on the back line as well. And they're also really good against Dryads and War Dancers. So I'm pretty excited to see how these Krabby Patties play out. And for his Lord, I think he has a Vampire Fleet Admiral, which is essentially like a General of the Empire or something like that. It does have vampires, so it has the Drowned Dead. On top of that, it does have Invocation of Nehek, and it looks like there's a couple items we haven't seen. So I'll go ahead and take a look at those when she does get out of that formation there. For the Wood Elves, a deep vanguard of Wild Riders with shields, 2 groups in total. Over here for the main force of the Wood Elves, he does have a whole front line of Dryads, which actually trade pretty efficiently with most of the zombie mobs. I personally like Eternal Guards because of the shields and, of course, having anti-large against some of the other threats on the roster, but Dryads are pretty good as well. In the back, he does have Glade Guards with Starfire Shafts who are going to be moving in, and some Hagbane Tips, it looks like, mixed in to get some poison utility, and 3 groups of Deepwood Scouts who are just getting bombarded right now. Granted, they're giving it right back. So, guys, I think Mel Gibson's hiding in the forest. There's a Branch Wraith as well, and let's get this show on the road. So right now, the Deepwood Scouts are going to be trading pretty well, I would say. These Deck Gunners do get the Invocation of Nehek, but the Enhanced Ballistics is really helping them kick out the damage, and you can see these Deepwood Scouts are actually really getting punished here. On top of that, Zablaski is going to be moving the zombie powered deckhand mobs as well as the Rotting Prometheans out here to chase these guys down. And it looks like the frontline engagement's about to be underway as the Dryads do collide with the zombies. Dryads, of course, much better stats. 33, 24, 34 against 17, 15, and 29. So pretty big stat difference there. Granted, the cost, they cost almost twice as much. So the Dryads are going to be falling back right now, trying to pull the Vampire Coast into the missiles, and it's definitely working because the Depth Guard are being pulled out and they're being picked apart. And they only heal when they're in melee, so I really like this play here. Oh, and it looks like Big Daddy Mel Gibson's coming in as well. He's going to be dropping bombardment right on the head of these guys, and it looks like it's going to be a Hawk's Talon. And man, really nice initial engagement for the Wood Elves, pulling apart those Depth Guard and pulling them away from the mainline formation. Granted, it looks like the back line here, the Shade Wraith Gunners and the Deck Gunners and all these guys with their Gunnery Wight are in pretty good shape, and they're just teeing off in the Deepwood Scouts, just tearing these guys up. But the Wood Elves have fallen back to the shroud of the forest, and it looks like they're also getting pressured pretty aggressively here. But it looks like some Wild Riders in the back trying to find an opening. It looks like they were sitting here for just a moment, but I think they stopped their charge because of the zombies. But of course, the Vampire Coast here doing a pretty good job with the polearms, and that's something that's really nice about the Coast. They have really cheap, like, effective polearms that aren't going to break, which is awesome. So it's going to be tough for these Wild Riders to get in. The second group is going to be coming as well, and they are shielded. Granted, it's not really going to matter too much against the Shade Wraith Gunners. But the Deepwood Scouts are picking apart this formation as well. They're getting some damage into the Prometheans and the zombies, but the Dryads do just get pounded there in like a 4v1 situation. In the back line, though, the Wood Elves also getting overrun a little bit. Granted, Mel Gibson is a force of nature. He's easily going to be able to take out these crabs in sustained combat, and you can see a big Invocation of Nehek is having to go down as such. But yeah, the Archers are having to fall back. They're being kind of pressured by the crabs, so the Rotting Prometheans really surprising me. And guys, there's a lot of water on this map, and all of the Vampire Coast units essentially have aquatic, so it's definitely going to be some good... That actually is like pertinent here, right? It actually matters, which is really cool. These Rotting Prometheans are pushing on the Deepwood Scouts, and that's pretty good because 120 armor, Deepwood Scouts have really poor AP. So it's going to end up being a pretty good situation where they have to waste a ton of ammo to take these guys out. Oh, you see that crab? They actually like pick the guys up with their little crab talons there. These Wild Riders do charge in here, and it looks like a numeral pendulum from the Branch Wraith going down, but it doesn't get the best engagement here. Maybe it does a little bit of damage to these guys, but nothing to write home about. But also the Wood Elves are starting to collapse a little bit. The Wild Riders, instead of going for the back line, are just bouncing around, taking out these zombie deckhand mobs, which I think is a very good tactic. They just have to make sure they don't get stuck in sustained combat versus these zombie polearms, because they're just going to take unnecessary losses. In the back, the zombie summon zombies are going to be chasing down the Hagbane tips and the Glade Guards and all that stuff. But this is a really good situation for the coast, because they're slowly just kind of wasting ammunition. Granted, you got to respect the Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson is he's just the crab hunter. He's just going after these guys. Invocations of Nehek, of course, keeping them up. And yeah, resurrecting the Prometheans with that is going to be really, really strong. The Vampire Fleet Admiral, as far as speed go, does have 40 and has the pistol. So she can be putting some pretty good pistol power here on Orion. But these crabs are on a mission. They're going to be hunting down these missiles. But these are the Starfire Shafts who have really good AP, so they're definitely going to take some casualties. If we take a look at the battlefield, it's a pretty even bounce of power. I wouldn't say anyone's like clearly ahead. These Wild Riders in the back have been picked apart. The Wood Elves are kind of kiting in the forest, being chased down, but none of these guys have shields, so it's not a bad situation per se for the Deepwood Scouts. Granted, ammo is going to become a pretty substantial issue, right? And it's really going to become Mel Gibson versus the world, I feel, towards the end. Over here, the crabs are getting worn down. They do have 9 models, which is still their full count, but they're going to start losing models really quick here. An Invocation of Nehek would be so cost effective, but this is really, really bad for the Vampire Coast. Mel Gibson has actually caught the Vampire Fleet Admiral. Oh, but look at the hounds going down. I feel like it's not going to do a whole lot of damage against those units, but it definitely looks cool. But if Orion starts attacking the Vampire Fleet Admiral, it looks like the Black Parapet. So what does that do? Power reserves and recharge rate. Okay, so that's what that item was. I was wondering, but the Scouts in the forest, the Deepwood Scouts, have started shooting the gunnery mobs here, but this is such good Vampire Coast action because these zombies are wasting so much ammo on these very expensive archers, which what else are really going to need in the late game to like get in here and cause a lot of problems, right? And you can see Zablowski's actually pretty good on ammo because he has more powder. So the gunnery wide's actually just been feeding powder to these guys, which is so awesome. I love to see that be useful and pertinent in multiplayer. But anyways, he's been feeding these guys powder. They're not low on ammunition at all. They're shooting into the Dryads, and there's plenty of polearms back here to kind of defend and make a bit of a last stand. The Dryads here are doing the thing. The Branch Wraith, of course, is buffing them up. So these zombie pirate deckhand mobs are probably going to be crumbling and disappearing here in a moment. But the Wild Riders from the Wood Elves doing a great job just riding about, picking off the scraps wherever they can. And I would really like to see Orion kind of detach from these deckhand mobs and go after the captain. I mean, he could skewer this Vampire Fleet Admiral so badly. And it looks like the Opal Amulet has been popped, giving 22% ward save to the Vampire Coast leadership right there. But the deck gunners are still online, and this firing line is so savage. The enhanced ballistics or enchanted ballistics giving that 60% accuracy, which is huge. And the Wood Elves, the Deepwood Scouts over here, like I said, they were wasting most of their ammunition on zombies instead of the high value targets. Now they're pretty much just like a weak melee unit, right? 18 melee attack, 22 melee defense, 26 melee strength or weapon strength. Not really going to be able to do a whole lot here. Balance power is still pretty darn even though. You can never underestimate Mel Gibson. The Branch Wraith here still has a little bit of a magic left. Looks like he's going to be healing up, or she's going to be healing up Orion. Some Wood Elves in the forest, but again, they're out of ammunition, so it's really going to be on Orion's back to potentially, pull this game back, because the balance of power is now slightly shifting in the favor of the Vampire Coast. But this is actually a little bit problematic for the coast here. You can see here there's 53 Glade Guards with Starfire Shafts. Over here we have 31, and then on this side of the battlefield we do have 59 with Hagbane Tips. And again, Vampire Coast doesn't have a ton of armor, so the armor piercing isn't going to be a huge issue, especially considering most of the crabs have actually been taken out. So Orion has charged into the frontline battle. Looks like he's going to start pressuring the gun line here. Thankfully, he does have his Cloak of Isha, so if he gets below, I think it's like 10 or 20%, he gets a massive damage reduction. But yeah, Orion's going to have to just straight up Braveheart this. He's charging in, did a lot of damage to the Prometheans who are falling back, but this is a lot of tar pitting. There are so many zombie pirate deckhand mobs here, but Orion is just going in, and oh no, this is the moment. The Vampire Fleet Admiral needs to retreat here. Orion's hunting, the Branch Wraith is hunting. The Branch Wraith also giving melee attack to the nearby troops, and it looks like she's able to get away. Maybe that aquatics trait helping her swim through the water faster. And Orion is straight up just getting Last Samurai so badly right here by all these deck gunners taking so much stopping power. Looks like he's going to be kind of a side strafing, running back and forth here. But the Wood Elf Archer support is here. You can see 53 of the Glade Guard with the Starfire Shafts. We have these Glade Guard back here with the Hagbane Tips coming in. So the Wood Elves might be able to rally here, even though the bounce of power is in the favor of the Vampire Coast right now. There's still a lot left, and these gunners, of course, are very, very squishy. So the deck gunners get another volley of the enhanced ballistics here. The gunnery white is a little bit obstructed. He's also pretty powerful himself. He has full ammo, so this guy is going to be able to put some hurt on Mel Gibson as well if he wants to with his long shot rifle. In the meantime, the Vampire Fleet Admiral is fighting the Branch Wraith and getting some pretty good work done. Orion ran back a little bit and started throwing spears, which I think he should have stayed in melee and kept just chasing down this Vampire Fleet Admiral, but I guess he didn't want to get like tar pitted, but losing this branch wraith like this, a huge loss. I mean, keeping this thing in the fight just a little bit more conservative back there, fighting with Orion only, I think that would have been so powerful. Granted, the Vampire Fleet Admiral is taking some heavy spears to the face, which is going to be pretty powerful as well. But let's see, the Death Gunners, oh, the Shade Wraith Gunners are full ammo. These guys have about 10 volleys left, and the other ones on the far side just got killed pretty much by Wild Riders, but yeah, they still have a couple volleys. They have 10 volleys as well. But yeah, very good stuff getting the Wild Riders into the back line. So, very close game here. The Wood Elves have rallied a little bit, and of course these archers are going to be able to put the hurt on the Shade Wraith Gunners. Although, do they do magic damage? I don't think either of those ones do magic damage. Yes, they're going to struggle a little bit against the physical resist of the Shade Wraith Gunners. But what a game. Orion coming in there with his giant spear, just picking apart the Vampire Fleet Admiral. It's really going to come down to, can they kill Orion? And thankfully, they still do have a ton of halberds, right? The halberds are going to be very good against Orion, who is a large entity. And here comes the spear. Oh man, that was a direct hit. The Admiral is very low, 132 leadership or HP with an 8 leadership right now. The Opal Amulet has been popped and he's running, but Orion is spear hunting. And here comes the spear. Oh, the slow-mo spear. Can you get it? Oh my God, she got taken in half by that spear. Orion, a true hunter. That was absolute insanity. That was like, that's the dream shot. Like you slow-mo it, you zoom in, you look, and that's what they like to call, and that's what they call in the industry the money shot. But the Vampire Fleet Admiral does get taken out there, and man, that was a beautiful spear from Orion right now. And now the Bounce Fire is kind of creeping back towards the middle a little bit. Some Prometheans are also coming back from the distance. Looks like they got 4 of their 9 models, should be pretty helpful against these Wild Riders who are actually still killing these Death Gunners in the back line. So I don't know, the Wood Elves might be able to pull this one back. You can see the Branch Wraith that actually rallied in the forest, and it's going to be especially scary for the Vampire Coast if the Wood Elves do have another Earthblood, right? That's going to be so tough. So Zombie Pirate Deckhand mobs are kind of waddling forward. The Gunnery Wight is still alive, so he's going to be having to do a lot of the heavy lifting. And now you can see the balance of power is shifting back towards the middle after Orion was able to get that beautiful spear, just absolute insanity. And yeah, the Rotting Prometheans are also taking quite a bit of a beating. These Glade Guards with the Starfire Shafts are still pretty much online, right? So the Deckhand mobs in the front are going to be fighting against Deepwood Scouts, very easily able to shatter those guys. And the Glade Guard with the Starfire Shafts here are pretty close to breaking because the Shade Wraith Gunners actually do have a discouraging effect. But it's getting a little bit close, guys. It's getting close. Orion should probably swoop in and just get into this back line. Orion actually, for some reason, I thought he did magic damage. Maybe he does a magic with his spears or something, but since he's out of ammo, it's not showing it. I could have sworn he did magic damage with his spears. Although I think that was something that might have changed a while back when they got rid of magic damage on a bunch of the Wood Elf stuff. But anyways, Shade Wraith Gunners here are going to be waddling behind the axes, which is a pretty good choice. The Branch Wraith is going to be using the Earthblood right here, which does hit Orion as well as the Wraith. Definitely could help the Bounce of Power out a little bit. And Orion, he could go in and finish off these Prometheans. Like one of his prison shanks, and he does have a good charge bonus actually, I think, of 70. That is no joke. Man, he comes in just rock hard on that charge. I think he might be trying to go after the Gunnery Wight, it looks like, which isn't a bad idea, or just get into the back line here. Wood Elf Archers, the Glade Guard still shooting in, and it looks like the Crabs are all but done for. And oh no, he's coming for that booty. This Gunnery Wight is in the wrong neighborhood for sure. Orion gets the full charge. The Gunnery Wight's leadership tanks down to 11. Then 3, then stabilizes at 48 as it kind of tilts back up here. But man, if Orion's able to sit on this target and really take this guy out, that's going to be brutal. The Branch Wraith is going to be broken right there. So it looks like the Shade Wraith Gunners and the Halberds were able to break that. But what a close fight. Mel Gibson's going in for the kill. He's going to be trying to just take out this gunner. Oh, and it looks like he gets another shank. The 30 melee defense not holding up against Orion's 73 melee attack. It looks like Orion might be falling back. Cloak of Isha, it looks like is now triggered. He's getting some pretty good steady healing. But there is not a whole lot left for the Wood Elves. I mean, they have some archers here in the back. It looks like these Glade Guard with Starfire Shafts are going to be engaging as well. But if Orion definitely needs to kill that Wight. If he can get the Wight, I mean, there might be a chance for the Wood Elves to come back. And he has really good mass. So Foe Seeker has been popped, giving him vigor and speed, and it looks like he's going to be bro charging in here. The Branch Wraith does get hit by the Shade Wraith Gunners and is probably going to get broken, but he should be able to just run through those guys. Like if he keeps spam clicking, I mean, he does get pinned there at the last second, but Orion is a big boy. He's going to get in there, and oh, this Gunnery Wight is so in the wrong neighborhood. And Enhanced Ballistics going down, or Enchanted, which is going to be buffing up the Shade Wraith Gunners so they can get a little bit more firepower, but yeah, he is 100% toast. So you can see everything on the Wood Elf roster is pretty much shattered due to army losses, but Orion, of course, is unbreakable, so man, what a tense situation. So we're going to fast forward a little bit as Orion does a little bit of a Benny Hill. So he runs in here, he starts fighting the Shade Wraith Gunners, but it's all halberds here, and that's the problem. Like, he's going to get to his healing cap pretty quick. Orion, of course, isn't the best against these units, and oh man, he's really trying to finish off those Gunners. And I don't know, maybe it's worth it for Orion just to finish off these zombie pirate mobs instead of like chasing through them and taking that free damage, but it looks like he is fighting a little bit now. The Shade Wraith Gunners are turning, they have 5 models, they're crumbling. He just needs to fight. So Orion has 200 HP. He's fighting to the bitter end. He has 91 kills. Oh man, 140 HP. He is so low. But again, he's still healing from that Cloak of Isha. So Is there anything is there anything elf left for him? Is there anything else left for the Vampire Coast? I don't think so. It's literally just these two halberds versus Orion, and I don't think he has the hounds or the bombardment. If he has either one of those, he could win the game right here for sure. But I think there's going to be a little bit of kiting as he tries to heal up a little bit, but he's going to be charging in and just fighting to the bitter end, cycle charging, taking advantage of that charge bonus of 70. But I don't think Orion's going to make it. I think these halberds are going to stay. The balance of power is just so heavily in their favor, so they're not going to go due to army losses. You're going to have to work through that, 5,000 HP right there, right? And Orion, every time he comes in, he's a large target, and it looks like Mel Gibson. Man, what a game. I can't believe that spear that took out that Admiral. That was probably the highlight of the game. But anyways, Orion's falling back, charging back in. He doesn't have any spears. He's obviously just using his Cloak of Isha and letting these guys crumble, which really isn't a bad idea. But man, oh, this is so close. And it looks like they're able to stabilize. He does reach his healing cap. He's back up to 500 HP, but the zombie mobs are crumbling. And, oh man, it looks like Orion's down. And the Vampire Coast did it. What a game. What a game. That was absolute insanity. Very well played to both players. That was super fun. And yeah, I mean, the Deck Gunners did a ton of work. And you know what? Like, I really didn't think Deck Gunners were, not Deck Gunners, but the Gunnery White was worth it. But he looked really, really good this game. He was able to do a ton of work with extra powder. He literally kept them firing the entire game. They were at like almost full ammunition, which was really crazy. So maybe we'll get to see some more of these Gunnery Whites in action. Definitely a very cool mechanic, especially in artillery duels and things like that. And the Vampire Fleet Admiral, not a bad choice. Able to kite Mel Gibson, get some powder shots. But the polearm would have been a little bit better probably because she could have like fought him. But even still, the pistol did some work. And yeah, it was a great army. The Crabs dealt with the Wild Riders. I mean, it was solid. No real critiques. It was pretty cool to see the Gunnery White in action. And for the Wood Elves, I like their army as well. I mean, that was anyone's game. That could have gone either way. Like, there was just a few minor moments where if one thing had been done a little bit differently, like, the game could have been over, right? So, very well played to both South Sea Company as well as Pockmen. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this battle, and we will see you guys next time.